Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I have another type of Google form. This is going to be a Second Amendment knowledge assessment quiz. This same quiz has 10 questions in it. Was sent out to the same AP Gov class, including the same students. But this one, compared to my questionnaire, Second Amendment questionnaire, I have now 17 responses. For my first question, and all these questions are multiple choice. So for the first question, what is the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution? Majority of responses, 100%, state that the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution grants the right to bear arms. Question 2. What does the Second Amendment protect? The overwhelming majority of responses, 94.1%, indicate that the Second Amendment protects the right to bear arms. A small percentage of responses, 5.9%, mentioned the right to a public education, but was not the dominant answer. Question 3. What does the phrase, the right to keep and bear arms, mean? The majority of responses, 58.8%, suggest that the phrase, the right to keep and bear arms, encompasses all of the following: the right to own any type of weapon, the right to carry and conceal a concealed weapon, and the right to use a weapon in self-defense. A smaller percentage of responses mentioned individual aspects such as owning any type of weapon, 17.6%, and using a weapon in self-defense, 17.6%. Question number 4. What types of weapons are protected under the Second Amendment? The majority of responses, 47.1%, state that all types of weapons are protected under the Second Amendment. A significant percentage, 41.2%, believe that only firearms are protected, while a smaller portion, 11.8%, answered that none of the above options are accurate. No respondents specifically mentioned that only hunting rifles are protected under the Second Amendment. Question number 5. Does the Second Amendment apply to individuals or only to the military? The majority of responses, 64.7%, indicate that the Second Amendment applies to both the military and individuals. A significant portion, 23.5%, believe that it applies only to individuals. A smaller percentage, 11.8%, respond that none of the above options are accurate. No responses stated that the Second Amendment applies only to the military. Question number 6. Can states restrict gun ownership? Responses were divided on whether states can restrict gun ownership. A significant portion, 35.3%, believe that states can restrict gun ownership, but only if the restrictions are deemed reasonable. Another 35.3% stated that states can restrict gun ownership, but only in certain circumstances. A smaller percentage, 17.6%, believe that the Second Amendment prevents any restrictions on gun ownership. Only a minority, 11.8%, responded that states can restrict gun ownership, but only for certain types of guns. Overall, the majority agree that states can impose reasonable restrictions on gun ownership. What is the well-regulated militia mentioned in the Second Amendment? The overwhelming majority of responses, 82.4%, indicate that the well-regulated militia mentioned in the Second Amendment refers to a group of private citizens who come together for a common defense. A small percentage of the respondents mentioned the National Guard, 5.9%, and the military, 5.9%, as possible interpretations. The police force was mentioned by a few respondents, 5.9%, but was not the dominant answer. Question 8. Can felons and the mentally ill legally own firearms? The majority of responses, 52.9%, indicate that felons and the mentally ill are prohibited from owning firearms. A significant portion, 35.3%, believe that they can legally own firearms as long as they have not been committed of a violent crime. A small percentage, 5.9%, mention that ownership is possible if they have not been involuntarily committed to a mental institution or if they have received a presidential pardon. However, the dominant answer is that felons and mentally ill are indeed prohibited from owning firearms. Question 9. Can schools and other public places ban firearms on their premises? The majority of responses, 76.5%, indicate that schools and other public places have the authority to ban all firearms on their premises. None of the respondents mentioned that only certain types of firearms can be banned. A smaller percentage, 11.8%, believe that the Second Amendment prevents any such ban, while another 11.8% stated that firearms can be banned as long as secure storage is provided. However, the dominant answer is that schools and public places can indeed ban all firearms. And for the last question, what is the current debate surrounding the Second Amendment and gun control laws? The respondents indicate that the current debate surrounding the Second Amendment and gun control laws revolves around whether the government has the right to restrict certain types of firearms. A significant percentage, 41.2%, support this view. A smaller portion, 11.8%, focused on the debate of whether the Second Amendment protects an individual's rights to own any type of firearm. Only a few responses, 5.9%, suggested that the Second Amendment only applies to state militias. Additionally, 41.2% of respondents believe that all of the above perspectives are part of the ongoing debate. Overall, the dominant concern is the government's authority to restrict certain types of firearms. Concluding statement regarding quiz. In conclusion, the responses from this quiz shed light on the diverse opinions and debates surrounding the Second Amendment and related topics. While there is a significant belief that the Second Amendment protects the right to bear arms and applies to individuals, there is ongoing discourse regarding the government's authority to restrict certain types of firearms. The majority of respondents acknowledge that states and public places have the ability to ban firearms on their premises, and there is general recognition that felons and the mentally ill are prohibited from owning firearms. These responses reflect the ongoing discussions and different viewpoints within the larger conversation on gun control and the interpretation of the Second Amendment. Thank you and have a nice day.